Hello, my name is Yegor and I am ScandiPWA core maintainer. I am here today to talk to you about the new ScandiPWA version 3, its release details, some new features, and some of your questions. Without further ado, let's get into it. First of all, we'll talk about the new features. The first and the most important out of all of them are plugins, ScandiPWA plugins, extensions, as we call them as well. This piece of functionality provides you an opportunity to write very reusable functionality throughout all of your projects. The process of plugging them is pretty similar to Magento 2 extensions. You plug it in and it works. We have some guides, some documentation, some videos about it even now, but the library of our information about the extensions and plugins is growing and will grow in the closest time. Currently, there is one video tutorial available and one document available. 2 more video tutorials are coming in the next week, and more documents are going to be published when you need them. The pluses of new plugin functionality is that this can drastically optimize your workflow. These extensions developed for ScandiPWA can also be sold, of course. We're planning to implement a marketplace to do that. And this is a very, very big change for ScandiPWA because this is a new opportunity, a new approach how you can interact with our ScandiPWA functionality. The second big topic regarding ScandiPWA version 3 is parent theme implementation. It's based on fallback plugin modifications. Before these changes, fallback plugin looked for a file in your app design frontend folder, and if the file is not there, then it looked for it in the vendor folder. Now there is one more directory that you can show between these directories. That's called parent theme, and you can of course extend it in your app design frontend, and you can of course not use it at all. It is an opportunity for you to implement your own ScandiPWA powered frontend and resell it throughout the project and modify it, not the existing ScandiPWA frontend basic theme. The next and third big thing about the new release is our new ESLint plugin. It watches over your code's compliance to our coding guidelines. It has some rules that are described in the documentation. Link to the documentation regarding the ESLint plugin and the extensions will be below. It's very recommended to use our new ESLint plugin when developing your own projects. It's important to follow our coding guidelines in order for everything, every line of your code to work properly and as you expected. Some more information about the third version. It's planned to release it in beta at first because the functionality is new and a lot of functionality has been introduced. The beta is going to be released either today or on Monday. The release note is in progress, the video guides have been filmed. We will, of course, let you know in the community Slack and every other possible ScandiPWA communication channel that the third version is here. Let's get to your questions now. The first question: how easy can an existing Magento 2 extension be adopted for use in ScandiPWA? Or would it need a known self-developed extension to support PWA features during checkout, etc.? The amount of time that you need to spend on Magento 2 extension to transform it to support ScandiPWA completely depends on this extension's complexity level. If it's a big extension that needs a lot on front end, that you'll spend more time on it because you'll need to develop all the front end for it. In order for an extension to be supported by ScandiPWA, you need to develop a GraphQL support if it does not exist out of the box, And you need to develop all the queries, that's the easy part, and the components and their logic, and that's the harder part, on the front end. The more of such functionality you need to develop on your own, the more time you'll spend on this. Second question, is ScandiPWA compatible with MST extensions? No, out of the box, no, because MST extensions don't support GraphQL, and you need to manually implement all the GraphQL support for an MST extension, and you need to implement all the front end that this extension has. You need to rewrite it on React, of course. When is ScandiPWA v3 going to be released? Beta in the closest time, and future release is dependent on how much functionality do we want to get modified from beta release. We want to develop extensions and plugins to use in our project. If we start developing on the current version, we're afraid we need to redo everything from scratch when version 3 comes out. Please don't be afraid. If extension functionality gets changed, it won't get changed drastically. The minor improvements can occur, but they won't make you spend more than a few hours on your extension. That's the plan. That's why we released ScandiPWA beta of the third version now, for you to be able to get acknowledged with extension and start developing them. There are people in ScandiWeb, on projects of ScandiWeb, who are working with ScandiPWA and who are developing extensions right now. So far, the functionality is completely usable. For example, if later we want to install a blog extension from Mageplaza which does support GraphQL, can it cause some problem to use together with the ScandiPWA theme? I don't think it will get you in trouble. I think it will get you out of trouble to use extensions that come with GraphQL support out of the box, because that's one less thing to develop on your own. If GraphQL is supported out of the box, that all you need to do is front-end development. Can you explain roughly the architecture of new extension mechanism? Of course, we have introduced namespaces, and you can wrap your functions around functions of members of the namespace. More about that you can read in our documents and watch in my videos. The architecture is more about coding, and we are here to talk more about functionality. Talking functionality-wise, the architecture provides you an opportunity to change any part of the application that you might need to change. And this functionality can be compatible with any other extension. And that's a very important part. I don't have any more questions, and you unfortunately are not able to ask me them right now. But hopefully we'll see each other next week, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. Have a nice evening, and goodbye.